Well, welcome to the TheBeePlace. We've got a young starter colony here, about 3.5 months old. It's a 5-frame nuke that we made up with Texan Queen, one of our own that we raised. We're going to give it some VarroxSan strips. When we made the nuke up a couple of months ago, we put a apivar strip in, as you'll see, a place where the bees kind of avoided the area where the strip was hanging. I've got a couple of frames out of the side to give myself some room already. The top box I pulled off, it's basically got a little bit of honey. We had a frame of brood that we brought up and a frame of food that was taken to the top box. So now we've given them some growing room. Now we need to give them a place where all these babies are fixing to hatch out. And they've got room to grow. As you can see, there's bees clinging on the bottom of these frames. It's coming evening, about an hour from sundown. So we got a lot of bees home at the moment. But right now there's plenty of nurse bees on here. Got a pretty good laying queen. She's still doing a good job, so I'm going to obviously leave her alone. I don't know if you saw her there. She was on the frame. I realized that I didn't point her out, so in a moment when I get the mite strip in, I'm going to pull this frame back out and point the queen out. I wasn't in this box to show the queen, and I really wasn't even thinking about making a video. I just at the last minute decided, you know what, I'm going to put a couple of mite strips in here. I don't have a video showing putting the VarroxSan strips in a hive, so might as well show off while I have a moment. As you can see, the hive's doing good. I did not do an alcohol wash on this one yesterday. I may come back and do that in a week or so. I just kind of want to get an idea where my levels are before I depend on this treatment to do its job. If in fact I find a higher mite load than I would like, I would actually add a secondary treatment, a flash treatment, with something like an oxalic dribble or potentially a vapor, depending on what the numbers are, to get the phoretic mites knocked down. As of right now, we've got a lot of capped brood. That means there's potentially mites doing their reproductive work under the capped cells. But I've got a lot of open brood here, which is, I'm showing that now. It's kind of hard to see with the lighting, but there's a lot of uncapped brood there on both sides. Got some capped honey, so they've got plenty of food. There's a little extra pollen on the next frame. So they're starting to get into the dog days of summer, so I added 1.5 gallons of syrup to the feeder. I did that before I started the video, so didn't waste time with that. That's a different video, different song for a different dance. This frame here shows we got a little bit of stored honey on both sides. So they're not hurting for groceries, but they're starting to get into the dearth period, so I wanted to give them some more. We want this hive to grow. We want to fill that top box up with bees and food before winter gets here in a couple of 3 months. So I'll take a VarroxSan strip, fold it in half, select a frame of brood, watch to make sure the queen's not there, and then slide it down in between the two frames, push it over, and then again I want to show the queen. I mentioned her a minute ago. I saw her when I first pulled it out earlier, and there she is there. I'll get a little closer zoom into this because it's a little dark right now. The sun's going down and it's not as easy to see. But she's not a big fat golden Italian like you would expect to see when a hive is this gentle. Most people would be suited up right now if this wasn't a store-bought queen. But I've been raising these for going on 8 years now. You can see she's a little darker. That's what we call a Texan. Why do we call them Texans? Well, because they're not pure Italian. We put about 500 Italians in our mating yards, and we use our own genetics to graft from. And then when those grafts hatch, those queens go out to get mated, they're surrounded by Wooten queens from Northern California that are super sweet, super gentle. We love her lines. Amanda's got some of the sweetest bees in the country, so we really promote those, and we enjoy working with them. As you can see, I don't have to suit up. I don't need gloves. I put a food handling glove on just to handle the oxalic acid. But it's all done now. Put it back together. I'm going to point the entrance. The top inner cover has an entrance notch. And if I point that forward and down, and then I push my top cover forward, that allows the bees to go in and out the top as well. It's an extra space for them to guard, but they have enough bees now to be able to do that. I always leave my entrances in the smallest position just to keep robbing to a minimum. At least it helps. Well, thanks for watching. Have any questions? Let me know.